Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I am Javier.
This week, the beginning of a 3-part series. We haven't done a 3-parter in 20 weeks. It's been forever.
I don't even remember who our last 3-parter was on.
I believe our last 3-parter was Mick Foley.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that was forever ago.
It was forever ago, and it does relate to this gentleman that we're talking about this week. It's our first 3-parter on YouTube, too. Very exciting stuff. We are talking about the early days of Randy Orton. Strike the pose. Now, I feel like it's a weird thing to say, what do you know about Randy Orton? But what do you know about like the origins of Randy Orton, his early life?
Yeah, I mean, he's the son of Cowboy Bob Orton.
Third generation professional wrestler, because of course Bob Orton was a wrestler as well, and then Cowboy Bob Orton. And Uncle Barry Orton was also a wrestler.
Oh, yeah. Good for him. Yeah, he's a third generation talent. It was literally like he was bred for this business.
Truly. And it's something that said a lot, where if you could build a professional wrestler from scratch, it would look like Randy Orton.
Yeah.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't know how to really explain it other than I feel like the older I get and the more knowledge on wrestling that I gain and like how my understanding of it grows, the more I tend to appreciate Randy Orton. It's like weird to explain. It's like he's really one of those wrestlers that if you like get it and you like know, like he just stands out so much for how just clean and crisp and incredible the guy is.
He also appeals to the casuals because he's got the RKO, which we'll all talk about because my God, the RKO is really, really good.
Or if you're on wrestling Twitter, they mention 2009 Randy Orton like every other day.
And it's for good reason. We're not going to get to 2009 this week, but we are going to get to 2007, I believe. So Randall Keith Orton from St. Louis, Missouri, born in Knoxville, Tennessee. As you said, a third-generation superstar. He also was a Marine. At the base, he received a bad conduct discharge in 1999 after going AWOL on 2 occasions, disobeying orders from a commanding officer. You can't keep him down. It was the voices in his head. He then also spent 38 days in the brig at Camp Pendleton because he was tried and convicted under a special court-martial once upon a time. So Randy Orton, He's done time. The hardest thing about prison was the Dementors. He then was signed by WWF and now for WWE, trained in and was wrestled in the Mid-Missouri Wrestling Association before being part of the OVW class of 2002, legendary class of wrestlers who all debuted around that time. Himself, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Batista, and everyone's forgetting Shelton Benjamin.
Ain't no stopping me, no.
My boy. Within weeks of his debut, Orton suffered a shoulder injury, and he was sidelined for months. He then started appearing on Randy News Network segments. He was on RNN, where he turned into a shitbag heel. And then when he returned, he joined Evolution, obviously with Ric Flair, Triple H, and relative newcomer Batista.
I mean, he was in Evolution already when he got hurt, no?
No.
I thought that he got hurt in that match against the Dudleys.
I believe he was... So at least what Wikipedia tells me is that he wasn't quite in Evolution yet. That he joined after the injury healed.
That's okay. Yeah, sure.
What's Randy Orton's career trajectory like without Evolution?
Oh, it's like... It's tough. Like, I don't even know how you could... I just feel like what Orton not only brought to that group, but what that group brought out of Orton is just so invaluable, especially at that point in his career when he's all of 22, 23, 24, that range. Like those were the years that, because he gets kicked out of the group at 24.
Yeah.
Like those were the years that were really covered by that group, and that's just such an important time, especially in the developmental stages of his career, where like I feel like you look at Orton very early on, like those RNN stuff, and like hell, the guy had used the fucking overdriver as his finisher for a while.
Terrible finisher.
fucking hate that move.
So, do you know how he ended up with the RKO?
I don't.
It was people power. It was John Laurinaitis. Because he had been using the overdrive, which he talked about how he needed a move he could hit on anybody at any time. Like he needed that extra level to his character. And John Laurinaitis apparently said because he used the Ace Crusher, of course, once upon a time, and he just said, "Take my finish, kid." That's what he said. He told Orton straight up, "Just take my finish. Like use it your own." And DDP had made the move famous, so credit those guys for letting me steal their shit and make it even better. That is a direct quote from Randy Orton.
He did make it better.
Yeah,
I don't care what people think,
and
but
made it better.
In my opinion, the RKO is a Mount Rushmore finisher.
Like RKO, Stone Cold Stunner, Sharpshooter, something else.
See, I don't care about the sharpshooter. Like the sharpshooter's cool. Don't get me wrong, and I understand its legacy and all this stuff. But
submission on there, and I think of all the submissions, it's the one I'd put on there.
I mean, I would argue for the
Bret
figure
Hart
four.
And Sting.
Yeah, but I would also argue for the figure four, just because it's such an iconic.
I like the sharpshooter better. I think
it's just a sharpshooter, but laying down.
Yeah,
if you think about it. Yeah, I would say those, and then I don't know, probably like I don't want to put Hogan's leg drop.
I'm not putting the leg drop in there. You can't make me. I'm not doing it.
I'm putting a super kick. Fuck it, super kick. Sweet chin music, whatever you want.
Our first match that we're looking at for young Randall Keith, Armageddon 2003. He is challenging for the Intercontinental Championship, and the champion is Rob Van Dam. And we have a special guest referee, Mick Foley.
More on that. I mean, if you listen to our Mick Foley episode, you would know that this is the budding stages of his feud with Randall Keith Orton.
Yeah, as we get into legend killer Randy Orton. In this match, what'd you think of the work of young Randy?
This, honestly, this is the match that surprised me the most. I would say that I think on quality alone, this might be the best match of the bunch.
Ooh, that is...
I think on quality. It's not the match that I'm going to recommend to people because I do think that there's another one on here that is just more enjoyable overall. But I think that this is the best worked match of the bunch.
I think this might be the best stylistic pairing.
This was fucking cool. He had great chemistry.
Does a lot here, and him and Orton have very good chemistry.
Yeah, this was incredible. And then Mick being the ref, it's just there's a lot of elements going on here that just this was really, really good. I did not think that this was going to be as good as it was. I had to slow it down, Evan.
Slow it down.
I slowed it down.
The 1.0 is the greatest compliment we can give to a match.
Now, listen, I didn't go 1.0.
You went 1.25. Yeah,
that's listen.
It's still the tip of the cap.
It's at least it's a little high. A little applause.
Again, I feel like going through all these matches beat by beat is going to be a lot when we're talking about Randy.
Yeah, these are long.
What? So let's first give flowers to Rob Van Dam. My God, he is on it in this match. He's crisp. He does his somersault plancha over the top rope at one point. Does the top rope crossbody. He's got his whole bag and he's using everything in it.
Talk about something that surprised me. There is a fantastic technical start to the match.
Yeah,
I did not expect that.
And so again, if you watch Rob Van Dam in ECW, he loves the standoff. He loves the you dodge and I get out of your headlock and you get out of my wrist lock and and the standoff. Him and Jerry Lynn all the time. Him and Sabu all the time. Him and Orton in the year of our Lord 2003.
Yeah, when Orton's
a very technical version of that, I was like, "Oh, what?"
When Orton's 23 years old or whatever the fuck he is,
it's dope. Orton. The story for this match for me is that RVD is a great fighting champion, and Orton is too cocky for his own good.
Yeah, and is trying to do his fucking best to cheat his way to victory, but Mick Foley is the protector.
And Mick Foley, of course, has beef with Ric Flair just from the way they've lived their lives. And Ric Flair is out there supporting his Evolution stablemate. Orton at one point does a cocky pin and doesn't win, obviously. He takes too long in certain spots and allows RVD to get back into it. They're really hamming up the fact that Orton is incredibly talented, but needs to put it together. He's like any sophomore basketball player We're like, wow,
Yeah.
he's got all the skills. If he could just put it together.
Yeah. He's like oh my god, who's someone that's like this right now? It's like fucking, I don't know, like Zion or some
Yeah.
shit.
If you took care of your body and not another person's body, I'm sure you would be fine. I'm sure you would be an
I saw
unstoppable force.
rumors that he's potentially getting traded to Charlotte for the second pick and some other stuff. And I was like, I mean, that's probably a good thing for him, but I think they season food in Charlotte, North Carolina. So can we send him somewhere that they don't? Like, what is it? What's going on? What do the Pacers have to offer?
My first thought was they have too many big men in Minneapolis. You can't trade them to Minnesota. That would be too mean. Plus, they eat very
No.
hearty in Minnesota too, so that's a bad
Yeah.
time.
Send him to like Portland. You know, what's Portland got going over there?
Everything would be made of soy. Um, so give me a spot you like in this match, just any spot.
Oh my god! So there's first off, I just have to give quick props to Rob Van Dam for the way that he's selling in this match.
Yep.
His selling, I think, was the highlight of the whole show. He put over Orton's offense here like $1,000,000. It's not even close. Like he at one point he's up top and Orton pushes him. He goes crashing and burning into the barricades, and then Orton hits a fucking picture perfect drop kick.
Yeah.
I think we just have to talk about it at this point. Randy Orton, best drop kick in wrestling. Like it's him.
Best Western Hemisphere dropkick is guaranteed.
Yes. It is Okada through and through, but Randy Orton is the best non-Japanese drop kick out there.
Yep, by far. By far.
Not even close. Even then, even in 2003, still best drop kick.
It's something that he had in his bag early and just has kept for 20 years. Let's talk about the finish. So Flair is up on the apron. He keeps getting involved. He is trying to get to Rob Van Dam on the top rope, but Foley clotheslines him, not even just kicking him out, because Foley has been yelling at Flair consistently throughout the match. He clotheslines Ric Flair. RVD gets dropkicked off the turnbuckle by Orton and gets crotched, and that essentially leads to the finish, which it's an RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And
RKO
it's very out of nowhere. Did you remember how this match ended? I remember that Orton won.
No.
I didn't remember the finish. And so, obviously, when you're watching it and you have a full screen, you can't see the little bar at the bottom. And so I didn't know we were near the end. I was like, oh, we're going to get to something and something. And Orton's going to get a little bit more offense. And then, nope, RKO out of nowhere. RVD sells it like he's been shot. And Orton is the Intercontinental Champion.
The way he just goes from fully upright to just boom.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
There may be no other person, maybe save Rey Mysterio, who's comfortable being lawn darted the way that Rob Van Dam is. He doesn't.
It's true.
He doesn't like protect his body on the. He's just like, I'm going to land on my chin, I think, and then my body will just follow behind me.
Yeah, he can, which is weird because for as bendy and all this stuff as Rob Van Dam is, which is what allows him to do the moveset, like have the moveset and the selling ability that he has. He is like a thick dude. He's not like Ray, who's very small and compact and like skinnier, so he doesn't carry as much weight. So it's easy for him to like get thrown around and stuff and not have to worry about the damage because he doesn't weigh very much. Like RVD is a thicker guy.
Yeah, thick Van Dam.
And he's not tiny.
Yeah. Evolution was, of course, hold all the gold at the end of the night. And Randy Orton would hold the title for 210 days. Do you remember who takes the title off of Randy Orton?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
2000 and I'm assuming it's like early 2004, right?
I believe so. Yes, it would be July 2004.
Okay, so that would be. Oh my God, who would that have been? Probably is he? It's not Shelton, was it?
No, it wasn't Shelton. It's somebody that I would say I very closely associate with Orton.
Oh,
both as a opponent and as a partner.
Was it Edge?
It sure was Edge.
Wow.
Yeah. So after he loses that, he would really start during this time to incorporate the Legend Killer gimmick. He would start his feud against Foley. He would have a match against Shawn Michaels, which was promoted as Legend versus Legend Killer. He was a dick to Harley Race, so that's fun. Uh,
Hulk
and
Hogan.
he might be Hulk Hogan. And he would then challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2004. Do you remember how he became the number one contender?
I don't actually. I have
Neither
always
did I.
like asked myself how this happened, and I've never gone and looked.
A battle royal. He won a 20-man battle royal on July 26th on Raw, and that gave him a shot at Chris Benoit's World Heavyweight Championship. Now, again, a caveat for those who are not have never listened to us before, that will be the only time I'll refer to his name. Other than that, he is Dickhead. That is how we have
Yes.
decided to call him on this podcast. So it's Dickhead defending the world title against Randy Orton, SummerSlam 2004. This story of the match, very much the seasoned veteran going up against the young cocky guy who, and trying to get in his head. It's a lot of Dickhead trying to get in and play playing against the Randy Orton. That's a lot of it.
Yeah, he starts the match off being hella aggressive.
Yeah, slaps him in the
hella
corner.
aggressive.
Yeah.
There's a test of strength spot, which Orton does get the advantage of early on.
Yeah, for like a little.
Then Dickhead decides to, use some veteran savvy on his ass and is like, I'm going to turn this on you.
I remember this match being better.
Me too,
Okay,
honestly.
I'm glad we're on the same page. I remember this match being like, I also remember Orton having more offense.
Yes.
And
I did not expect this to be as not one-sided, but as dominated by Dickhead as it was.
He really has like one long stretch and then a couple hope spots, which is weird because he's a heel here still.
Yeah. Also, not as many, like, in my opinion, noteworthy material in this match. Like, I don't have that many notes.
No, my notes are really short. Like, it's just a lot of like Dickhead is in control. Like, he goes for a sharpshooter, but Orton turns around and gets one of his own. Dickhead trying to get the crossface locked in, of course.
Orton slips out, pushes him into the post.
Yeah, and a lot of like slugging. Orton is showing a little bit more of that brutality that we now associate older Orton with. It's always been present, but it was never the most important part of the character. So here he's still, you know when you piss off like a frat boy and they get really tough.
Dude, what'd you say?
Yeah,
step the fuck up.
That's the way that I would describe early Orton. Like, he's clearly cocky, but if you try to puncture his inflated ego, he will be mean. Like, he will be vicious, and that's pretty much what goes on through this whole match.
Yeah, I mean, Orton starts working the arm that guy run into the post, and that's about as much offense as he would get for a while.
Yeah.
Because Dickhead hits like a apron DDT / face buster type deal. I wasn't really sure what they call that.
I call it a face buster. There is a gap where Dickhead goes for a suicide dive, and Orton dodges and makes him go face first into the barricade, and that's where Orton has like a little bit of life, gets like this beautiful neck breaker. He also... Orton's facial expressions when he doesn't get the 3 count he wants. This is pre him being a psycho, right? Where he would just like stone face. So yeah, he has this perfect face of like, what do you mean that isn't 3? How dare you? We get like a German suplex-a-thon from Dickhead. He gets a set of 6 of them.
I said 3 Germans, and then he just kept going.
Diving headbutt, but Orton hits him with the feet to the face. Dickhead turns a pin into the crossface, and then the finish is again the same style of finish.
Yeah, it's really, this one was weird to me because it's set up so Dickhead likes to do the arm, like trapping the arm, bringing them down, and then going for the crippler crossface. But in the process of doing that, Orton just kind of does the whole like swap, like he kind of like turns a little bit to kind of flip around them, grabs the other arm, rotates Dickhead, and then he just boom drops the hammer, RKO out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3. Randy Orton wins the title.
Randy Orton is the youngest world champion in WWE history.
Yeah,
but not the.
Do we think that's going to be broken?
Champion. Who could break it?
I don't even know who's eligible at this point.
Neither do I.
It's not Theory. Theory's roughly my age, so he's 25. It's not. How old's Braun Breaker? Is he like in this range?
I'm trying to see WWE roster by age.
Because it's not Carmelo
Hayes.
Hayes.
20 to 24, right?
Yeah, Carmelo Hayes is 28, I think.
It's literally Braun Breaker's 24 already, so out.
Okay, so
Austin
he's gonna
Theory's
be out. Yeah.
24, out. Gable
Theory's still
Steveson.
24. Wow.
It's Gable Steveson. That's it.
It's not. It's not Gable Stevens.
Because the only guys that are of note here between that are in their 20s are Amos Mansour, Dominic Mysterio, Carmelo Hayes, Cameron Grimes, and Pete Dunne.
And all of them are over.
All of them are in their mid to late 20s.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Can we borrow somebody from AEW? Can we bring Dante Martin over? Can we bring Hook over? Send Hook.
No, we what's his name? The kid who's I think he's still underage. Nick Nick something.
Who went viral
Nick
a little while
Wayne.
ago? Nick Wayne.
Nick Wayne, the 17-year-old
Yeah.
who got the AEW contract, but he can't actually join until after he graduates high school, which I think is now. I think he's now graduating, like this month.
Hey, congratulations. Of course, we know that after the World Championship win was one of the most famous moments for Evolution. It was the end of Evolution as we currently knew it because they had the big celebration for Orton. He was congratulated after the match by Dickhead. But then the next night, he was up on Batista's shoulders. Triple H giving him the thumbs up. You got it. Thumbs down. Kicked out of Evolution. Was told to drop the belt to Triple H. He didn't do it. Orton would turn face, which was fine-ish.
It was not fine. It wasn't okay.
It's definitely not his best time as a face. We are going to take a break. When we get back, Orton turns heel again in the weirdest way possible. Back from the break, Orton decided that he had some issues with another legend because he is fully embracing his Legend Killer gimmick at this point. Also, who does Orton lose the World Heavyweight Championship to?
Triple H.
Of course it's Triple H. Who else would it be? Of course it's Triple H. That son of a bitch.
No, I mean the issue with that, like we do have to like litigate that one a little bit because like my thing is it just didn't make sense in the moment. Like I remember watching and being like, "What? Why did they do that?" Like
because they can.
Randy Orton. No, but it's just like obviously I'm not watching it thinking, "Oh, why would they turn him babyface?
Weird
That's
booking.
a terrible idea." No, I'm thinking like, why would Triple H do that like that? Like, why would he attack him and then demand the title? Why wouldn't he just like gaslight him?
Yeah.
Into like. First into like manipulate the kid into like giving you a shot or like
young Javier
like
was
that.
all about gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. Like that was
bro.
The
like
vibe.
I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? Why would he just attack him and then ask for the title? I was like 5 years, not 5. I was not at all 5 years old. I was like 7.
So
but like,
yeah,
it's weird.
It is weird. Orton then got some advice from recently departed superstar Billy Graham, who said that he needed to like make a bigger name for himself, take out the biggest dog in the yard. And that meant he wanted to come after Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. So throughout March of 2005, he taunted Undertaker, claiming he was unafraid of him, and then turned heel by, do you remember how he did it?
He didn't he like take the urn? Or no, he buried him.
No, he RKO'd Stacy Keibler, his on-screen girlfriend.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he just RKO'd her and was like, because I won't be distracted, let me focus on The Undertaker. It's like, bro, relax.
I remember when The Undertaker came back, it was at the end of the Survivor Series, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then he like came out and Orton was like, oh,
but that's that's probably after this though, right?
Is it?
Because he doesn't turn heel till March.
Oh my God, the feud. Yeah, the feud extends.
It's
I forgot about
time.
that.
So during Orton's promos, he ran for cover whenever there were signs of The Undertaker. When Jake Roberts told Orton not to underestimate The Undertaker, Orton RKO'd him because he's a dick. And that leads, of course, to a WrestleMania match. It's Undertaker versus Randy Orton. If you have any knowledge of the streak, you know how this one is going to end.
Yes.
But let's talk about the match. And I want to know, when you think of the Legend Killer gimmick, what feud do you associate it most with?
This one. Absolutely
this is second for me.
Really?
To Foley. I think because Foley was the first time I felt like really fully realized like that was the whole point of the gimmick and like the whole point of the feud, really.
That's
And
fair.
then I think I like this one better, but I think I still think more about the Foley feud first. I also feel like that put Orton on the map a little more. Like obviously Evolution put him on the map, but like that Foley one really helped.
You know what it was is probably because I was paying less attention to Raw than I was SmackDown at that point.
That's fair for you, yeah.
So I just during the whole like Randy Orton's IC title run feels like 2 years to me, just because like it's like one point, oh, he had just gotten the title, and then I just didn't really ever watch Raw, and then at one point he just lost it later down the line,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, that's weird.
What happened?
Yeah.
Now, what do you think of this match as an Orton match? Just as a Randy Orton match?
Uh I thought it was a great showing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is his first real WrestleMania showcase. You know, he's not really had a match like he was in 2004. He was in that match, the tag match, the 3-on-2
Yes,
match.
against the Rock and Sock Connection.
And then before that, had he even had a match at WrestleMania? I don't think he
I
did in
am double
2003.
checking.
Probably
Nope.
not.
Nope. That was
Yeah,
his
so this
first
is his
match.
first. Not only is this his first singles match, it's his first high profile match.
Yeah.
Really, as far as like one on one goes at WrestleMania. So like, you know, it was also, I remember, one of the most, like, I think aside from the two world title matches, this is probably the title match, or the match that had the most build on the
Yes.
card.
Had the most juice.
Yeah, so like this was one that I was like kind of excited for. And
Yeah.
as I've mentioned before, WrestleMania 21 is, I think, the first pay-per-view I ever got. So like this was one that I saw when it happened.
Yeah.
And another thing that we need to talk about is the streak
Yeah.
itself. I think that there have been multiple points where they could have like just hit the exit button on it and
Yep.
like had him lose, and it would have made okay sense. I think that the most glaring one of the bunch is this. I think that if there
Agreed.
was ever, aside from Brock, you know, the Brock thing was what it was. If there was ever a time where Taker could have lost in the run, I think there were really, I think there are two that always stand out to me. There's
Okay.
this one, which I think is where he should have lost. And there's the Edge match, where the main event one, where I just kind of felt like it made sense for Edge to win that match,
Yeah.
because it wasn't really about WrestleMania. The real feud, like, because then it just kept going, and it really culminates at SummerSlam, which is like the big blow off match that they have. So
Yeah.
it just made sense to me, at least. It made sense that Edge would win that one.
I think people would disagree with you only from the fact that they know what happens by extending the streak. They see the quality of the matches come back up. Like I think it's all revisionist history. Like all of the people would say, like, oh well, yeah, but if Randy breaks the streak, we don't get Michaels and we don't get Punk
But
and we don't
don't
get.
we?
Well,
Like, why wouldn't they circle back to the Taker? Like, the story would be different, obviously, because
that's
the
the
streak
thing.
isn't a thing.
Is
But
I do think that without the streak, those matches don't have as much oomph.
they do still have the same equality, you know, like the Batista, and you also
But
have to think
how
like the
good
next.
is a match if it doesn't have the same storyline?
But this is the same. Like, this was the first match where at least that I can remember, that they mentioned the streak being a thing, and then I don't think they talk about the streak.
It's the Ric Flair match. That
Okay,
WrestleMania 18 is the first like streak match they acknowledge it.
but then they don't really talk about the streak being a thing until the Michaels match. Like, after this, I don't even remember what his 2006 match was. Was it the Henry one?
Yes.
Like, that wasn't even about the streak. That was just a clash of titans that they threw on there. Then it was the 2007 would have been what, Batista. Like that. That's just a match that match was about the title. The Edge match was about the feud and the title. And then we get to 2009 with the first Michaels match, and like, yeah, it was about the streak, but wasn't it really about just one-upping each other?
I think the first time the streak was acknowledged was Ric Flair, and then the handicap match against A-Train and Big Show the next year, they do acknowledge it again. Kane wasn't about that. This one was about it. And yeah, 12-0 is impressive. Like it's an impressive thing to to do. I don't know.
I
I agree with you that
understand.
if there was a spot that before like WrestleMania 29 or 30 to do it, probably was here.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that I would go back and have Orton win, because I do think that at that stage of WrestleMania, there's just kind of like a humbling that needs to happen with that character,
Yeah.
especially from a legend's perspective. And if there's going to be a legend that humbles him, it
It
should
should
be
be
Taker.
Taker. Yeah.
So I can see why that would be the deal, but I don't know, man. I still look at that choke slam into the RKO spot, and I'm like, man, if that had ended the match.
Well, because I want to go in a completely different direction and just piss you off. This is back-to-back Earl Hebner matches. Just figured
Why are you like this? Why are you just the worst person?
in terms of actual match quality, this whereas the Benoit match was worse than I remembered, this is better than I remembered.
Yes, way better than I remember.
And I think what it is Undertaker's not nearly as slow as I thought he was. Because there was a
Yeah,
lull of Undertaker being really like lethargic, like Ric Flair match, like that, like he was
the
really
Kane
the Kane
matches from
match.
2004.
This is pretty good. Like he's really spry, and Orton's doing a really good job. And this is very funny because this is the ultimate like here's a legend or like a veteran to put this young whippersnapper in his place, and it's just
Yeah,
Undertaker beating the crap of him around the yard, and Orton getting a little bit in, like Orton ducking a big boot and drop kicking Taker off the apron. Like,
it's a lot of chicken heel or chicken shit heel stuff.
well, that's exactly what Orton was at this time, right? He wasn't
Yeah,
the Viper yet.
no, he's not even close to that, and we're not really. Whoa, I think we're only really gonna get shades of that towards the last match
Yeah,
of this, but we don't really get to that point. Like we're gonna talk about it, but like Orton goes in a really weird direction with his
he does.
career after this.
There's some spots that I really liked here. There's a big splash in the corner from Taker twice. He does snake eyes, but Orton has enough heads up to elbow Taker with like a flying elbow to break up the
That was
combo,
nasty, by the way.
and
That looked like it was gross.
it really connected him. Um, Orton like tries to stand and trade with Taker, which I kind of liked. Like
Yeah.
anybody who doesn't just shy away from a striking match with Taker gets bonus points.
Orton's punches were decent,
Yeah,
but they weren't.
not amazing,
I mean,
but decent.
listen, when you're going up against the Undertaker, you're losing the aesthetics of a punching battle.
One thing we do get is the first appearance of the patented Orton catch power slam.
Yes,
It's so
we
good,
do, baby. It's so good.
It's so good. Again, Mount Rushmore power slam. Like it has to be.
Yeah, it's him, and I would say Gold Dust. Those
It's
two
got to
are
be Goldie.
locks.
Yeah.
Those two are absolute locks when it comes to that. And then we get a dragon sleeper from the Undertaker,
I didn't know Undertaker knew how to do that.
a standing one, albeit, but still
impressive.
Taker absolutely drills Orton here at one point with a back suplex. Orton does the punches in the corner, and then he gets to 9.
And he poses. He does the
Just
pose.
gets up there. By the way, only one person in this world can do that pose, like Randy Orton. Like I don't know how. It's like because it's not even like he's super cut or anything. I think he's just like anatomically the only human being built to be able to do it as perfectly as he does.
He's also just a douche, and so like it's like people who aren't douches don't do that. And like now it's associated with being Randy Orton, but like young Randy Orton, it was like that kid sucks, and so of course
Well,
he's
it's
be
just like
that.
a cool way of doing the like I don't know, like the gladiator taunt. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
it's a lot, but it's a lot.
We have a guest on the podcast.
Yes, if you're
everybody.
not watching this on YouTube, which you should, subscribe to us on YouTube at Crossbody at Work. If you are watching, you will see Javier's cat over his shoulder.
She is she is awakened from her nap.
She's like, oh, I love the streak matches. Taker does put him in last right position. Orton sneaks out, goes for an RKO. Taker pushes him into Earl Hebner. Very, very babyface move. Taker with the last ride attempt. Orton kind of just like buckles him, like he just.
Yeah, I don't know if that was botched or if they meant to do it, but it really seems,
but just not that way.
Yeah, Orton, like you could tell on the like when as he was bringing him up, Orton rotated really fast.
Yeah.
Like that, I was like, God damn, how's he gonna stop his ass?
So then he buckles Taker. We get a cast shot from Cowboy Bob Orton because, of course, Cowboy Bob known famously having his cast on his arm. Orton rolled on top of Taker. We get a 2 count. Taker with the sit up, and Orton with one of the greatest sit up reactions of all time. He is absolutely flabbergasted that Taker is alive.
Randy Orton's the only person who could make this face.
That's quite the face.
And still look attractive.
Good for him. Then we get the spot you talked about, which is the RKO.
Yeah, Taker sets up for a choke slam, brings him up. As he does, Orton switches over, grabs him by the neck, and just brings him down. RKO. My jaw hit the ground. Evan, I'm sorry, but when I saw this in 2005, when I was all of like 7 years old, my jaw was on the ground. The ground.
This is also pre-streak matches having 3 finishers each side. Like, one finisher was enough to end a streak match.
Yeah.
We didn't.
And the RKO, no one kicks out of the RKO.
And Taker barely survives. He gets a shoulder up at 2.95. Like,
yeah, because there's a pause. There's also a pause.
Yeah. And Orton wants to go for a tombstone because he's a cocky son of a bitch. That's a mistake. Taker reverses it. Pin. Streak lives on. Wonderful stuff. Legend killer Randy Orton continues on. They have that feud for a while afterwards.
Yeah.
But it's really good. I mean, Undertaker possesses Josh Matthews. That's really fun.
It's the only good thing Josh Matthews has ever done.
Well, that's why Josh Matthews got his voice deepened on Impact. It was because he really enjoyed it when Undertaker was his speaking voice. Let's talk speaking voices. Let's talk about a promo. So in 2006...
I'm sorry, by the way. I would like to apologize to everyone for this promo selection.
In 2006, yes, Javier picked all the matches and promos for Randy Orton. He was in the 2006 Royal Rumble, as most good wrestlers are in the Rumble. He was the 30th and final wrestler, but was eliminated by the eventual winner, Rey Mysterio, who earned a World Championship match at WrestleMania 22. And Orton is not happy about that. This is the first SmackDown after the Rumble, and so he is going to confront Rey Mysterio, February 3rd, 2006 SmackDown. The clip starts with Teddy Long, holla holla.
Holla holla.
He's very excited. He's hyping up Rey Mysterio because he won. This is when brand loyalty mattered. So this is when he won the Rumble for SmackDown. Like, they have the Royal Rumble winner. This is a big deal. Ray comes out in the lowrider because this, of course, is when Ray is paying homage to Eddie.
Yeah, which people are like, oh, they're just capitalizing on Eddie's death, blah, blah, blah. I hate when people do that because it's like that was also like one of his best friends, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
also, it's a tricky subject. You never know exactly how people will respond or how they want to be remembered after that. Nobody really says that. But if there's anybody who I think would be like, hey, will this help the business? Do it. Who cares? I feel like Eddie would be like, this is fine. I appreciate it. It's nice.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like if you have a team and then like, you know, like if someone passes away on that team, like the team still like they play the season in remembrance. Like the Celtics, Bill Russell passed away, and the Celtics had the Bill Russell thing on their jerseys
on them
the whole season.
Yeah,
like, you know, like what, it's just different in wrestling because it's a part of the story. Yeah, you know, but like.
And now here's where things get real. Is this promo about the and that's where things are going to get a little dicey. Now, Ray says he wants to say one thing. Thank you, Eddie. Talking about how Eddie had a good joke, making me come in at number 2. Eddie's probably laughing his head off. And here comes Orton, which I must say, he's in the RKO NWO style shirt.
Hey!
That's a fantastic, fantastic shirt.
He's also using, what is it, Burning in the Light?
Burning My Light. Now, you can only choose one. Burning My Light versus I Hear
Burning
Voices.
My Light. Burning My Light.
It is.
It's Burning My Light. I made the list back on Full Press Wrestling like a few years back. Actually, it was after Punk came back.
Yeah.
When we heard Cult of Personality again, and I made that top 10 list. Burning My Light is in that. It's absolutely there.
God, it's so good. Orton is here, and he's saying that Eddie was laughing at Ray, not with him, and that Ray's in no position to be in the main event of WrestleMania, but he is, because look at him and look at Ray. Ray's small, I'm big, ha ha.
Orton says that there must have been some divine intervention because there's no way that Ray could have won the Rumble on his own.
Ray says intervention or not, I'm the one who tossed your ass over the ropes. And then Orton says, I would beat you. I would destroy you like that. He challenges Ray because lightning can't strike twice in the same spot. Orton has the greatest 1,000 yard stare in wrestling.
Yeah.
When he is just like zoned out, it's incredible. He's just looking at nothing. You're like, what the fuck is wrong with this man?
A lot of things, especially when he goes on to say, Ray, you're looking up towards the heaven like you're looking at Eddie, like you're looking for Eddie. Let me tell you something, bro. Eddie ain't in heaven. Eddie's down there in hell.
I appreciate you shortening it, but the pause he sets between down there and in hell, like we didn't assume that's what he meant, was comically long. And
It was comical.
and here's the thing: people didn't like this program. I don't know Eddie, so I don't know what his thoughts would have been on being a part.
I feel
of
like
this.
Eddie wouldn't have given a shit.
I do lean that way.
I mean, the guy made his addiction issues a part of his story.
I also think that there's enough people present around SmackDown at that time to make that call, like Chavo and Ray. Like, I think there's enough people.
Vicky was still around, you know?
Like, I think there's enough people to be like, don't fucking do this or do this. You know what I mean? But man, it's uncomfortable. It's still super uncomfortable to hear. I don't like it.
I just didn't like the line. I think that listen, if you want to incorporate Eddie and like talk down on Eddie or and his passing and the way that Ray's using that, like that's fine. I thought that it was all the way up to like you could say, oh, you needed divine intervention, or like, oh, Eddie, had your back. That's the only reason you're able to win. Like pretty much like, say that the motive, like it's not Ray, it's Eddie that's doing all this. But like when you go, I think when you do the whole Eddie's in hell thing, like 3 months after his passing, that's just not okay.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. The refs have to hold Ray back because he just low blows and jumps Orton, which is fair.
I would have done the same thing. I would have been, if I was front row, I would have hopped the barricade too.
We are going to take our commercial when we get back. Randy does get his hands on Rey Mysterio. Back from the break, Orton won at No Way Out, meaning that he earned Rey Mysterio's title shot for the World Heavyweight Championship WrestleMania 22. Teddy Long re-added Mysterio into the match, making it a triple threat against champion Kurt Angle. And in the match, Kurt Angle, my favorite wrestler, not pinned. It was Orton who got pinned by Mysterio as Mysterio won the world title. We then are looking at the SmackDown, that's, I believe, the first SmackDown after that WrestleMania. April 7th, 2006. It's Orton challenging Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight Championship. Does Rey Mysterio have the most disappointing set of World Championship reigns in WWE history?
For a top guy of that like at that level, like historical figure,
yes,
I would say so.
Because he has this one where he was booked like shit.
And Kane?
Yeah, Kane's definitely up there too.
I would say Kane had a day with the WWE title, and then he had that awful, god-awful World Heavyweight title run in 2010.
I would say Rey's are worse, though. He was never booked as a threat when he was World Heavyweight Champion, and then he had that WWE Championship where John Cena just strolled back in and was like, sorry there, old chum. Let me take back my WWE title.
Like, the thing with that is, like, okay, so like people would argue that the blueprint is probably like Kofi, like the way Kofi was booked strong as champion up until eventually Brock Lesnar.
Awful.
But the thing with that is like you just can't do it because Kofi's at least like 6 feet tall, Rey is just getting dwarfed by, like, you looked at him in that promo against Orton. He is like a full foot shorter than Orton. Like put him next to Kurt Angle, who's not that tall either. He looks so small. I just felt like with the way the roster construction was at that time and who he was going up against, it would have been really hard for Rey to have been booked in a position where he's like not the underdog, because that was his whole thing, is that he's the ultimate underdog.
I think what it is though is like, I get being an underdog. Can he not win anything ever?
Yes, that is the issue. I will say is like you should not
You
have
should
treated
still be
him
able to
like the
win.
Money in the Bank
You should
holder.
still be able to win some things. Like, it's crazy. Anyways, this match. What did you think of the actual match?
I picked this match because I remember this match,
That's
and I
fair.
actually watch it kind of often. This is not kind of often, but like I watch it every once in a while because I like it'll just come up to mind. I like this way more than the WrestleMania Triple Threat.
Interesting. I don't remember the WrestleMania Triple Threat fondly. Like, I don't think it's amazing,
Well,
but
that's because your boy lost.
why? Yeah, but I also think that I don't remember it being bad. I don't think it's great, but I don't remember it being bad either.
I just always thought this was way like this was just a whole other level better.
That's fair.
And this is an excellent match. I would say this week, if you're looking at any of the matches, it's between three. It's this, the Taker match, or the RVD match, and they're all kind of different enough
They all have different things.
that it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Like
Yeah,
I think if you're looking at just quality overall wrestling, like bell to bell, I think this is the match that you want to look for.
and
If you're looking
yeah,
if you're looking for like a little bit of a surprise, like like this is better than I would have expected it to be, like from both sides, I would say the RVD one. And if you're just looking for overall what I think is the most entertaining of the matches, it's definitely probably the Taker one.
I would agree with that. This one has a really interesting dynamic though that we get to see for the first time, really, which is Orton as the big. And I think
Yes.
Randy Orton is a tremendous big guy wrestler.
Oh my god, he's so fucking good.
He just when his offense becomes like brutality, like that's the whole point, which is really what the like psychotic Viper era is.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah. I would say the thing with Orton at this stage is you could see where the maturity is starting to sink in with him.
Yeah.
Like he's finally starting to have that confidence in being more than just a chicken shit heel. Like there is like a menacing side to him.
Yeah.
There is like he's more grounded. He's not doing as many flashy things. There's
Yeah.
more wearing
More
you down.
focus. Yeah.
Yeah, more headlocks, more like targeting body parts, more like stuff like that. Like, oh, I'm up against Rey Mysterio, the hottest babyface in the entire company, who has this like crazy moveset. Let's bottle that a little
Yeah.
bit. Really work the crowd, build it up. So by the time Rey's hitting even just like a springboard seated senton, like it makes the
It
place go
matters.
fucking nuts.
It matters. It matters so much. Some other good Orton moves here. We get that like neck breaker, back breaker combo he does where he pulls the guy
Yeah.
down over his back. And Ray, of course, being so small, sells it incredibly. He just whips Ray down consistently. Like there's a lot of really good Orton spots, but also cocky Orton still exists. At one point, after we come back from the commercial, he has a sleeper with body scissors. Ray gets to the ropes, and then Orton goes up top for an elbow drop, but he takes way too long. He
does the thing.
He does the look at my elbow. Like the elbow's coming. And of course, Ray gets the feet up in the face because he took fucking forever to get there.
Yeah, which was fucking hilarious.
But I love that because Orton, yes, he's getting better, but he's still this like insecure asshole at heart.
Yeah, and I think honestly that's the beauty of that time period. I would say from 2009 onwards with Randy's career, where he really just strips out kind of the cockiness part. Like the cocky parts only really come out after he's hit like a big move. He doesn't do it before. He does it after.
It's a little bit more well earned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this match has lots of good spots. I'm going to give you talk about one spot you like, and then we'll get to the finish.
Toe hold. Ray goes for a 619. Orton ducks, eats a boot to the outside. Then Ray hits a springboard seated senton out there. Ray does corner punches at one point, and he's fucking whip. Like you can see by the ferocity that he's bringing them out. He's not pulling those punches.
No.
Those are not working punches.
It's a lot. A lot of classic Ray flippy stuff.
We see, I think for the first time, Randy he puts on a headlock, but he also puts on like a full body vice.
Yeah.
Which is something we will see a little bit more towards. We don't see it as much nowadays in like I would call it the post Menace or in era.
Yeah.
From like 2000, what do you say, like 2011, 12 onwards. But
Yeah,
like, I would say up until that like sort of period, he was fucking using that shit. I felt like every match.
because it got heat.
It was great.
It takes the match and slows it right the hell down.
Ray does have his little spritz, his little
He's got hope spots. Yeah.
what is it, an amuse bouche of offense here, because he gets his wheelbarrow bulldog,
Yep.
does a springboard seated senton into it, and then oh my god, Evan, the springboard seated senton, where he tries to do it, goes up like on the springboard, and Randy just says fuck no, drop kick right out of the ring.
Drop kicks him clean out of the ring, which is awful. All right, let's talk about the finish. Ray manages to hit a 619 using the ring post, which was
Yes.
crazy because Orton was on jelly legs before that. He has great jelly legs, by the way.
And doesn't hit his legs. He somehow manages to get his body all the way around.
Yeah.
Where his body, the part of his body that hits the post is really like his abs. So it doesn't, obviously it's not going to hurt as much.
Yeah. So he hits that ring post and then hits another 619 the regular way because Orton falls onto the second rope, drops a leg drop from the springboard position and retains. Now, we are unfortunately skipping over all of the original run of Rated RKO.
We'll get to it.
I think they have enough to get their own episode.
Yeah, they do.
Somewhere down the line, a Rated RKO episode, because we still have to cover Edge. So,
yeah, I think that the Rated RKO thing, because there's also like the post-rated RKO stuff.
yeah,
like there's
the greatest wrestling match ever, remember?
And there's that remember when Edge came back from his injury and Orton was like telling him like, man, we should get Rated RKO back together. We should get Rated No. Actually, no. Edge came back from his injury, and then I think he lost to Jericho. I want to say it was, and then he turns heel like right after that, and is trying to get Randy to get Rated RKO back together, and he's just being a menace to Randy. Like, we could cover that because I feel like that's also a forgotten thing that happened.
We will get to Rated RKO, but where we go next, and for our last match, is to Randy Orton's greatest rival, Jonathan Q. Cena, at the WWE Championship for SummerSlam 2007. This is the rivalry for WWE that kept the lights on for the 2000s. I do not care if you love it or you hate it. You have to respect it. It kept the bills paid.
I just have to say, it's hard to be objective about it because you know how big of a John Cena fan I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Randy Orton. Don't get me wrong. I think Randy Orton's great. I love these feud. I love these matches. I love the feud. I don't think they ever, to me, really had like a shitty match.
No.
We just saw it so many times that it was like oversaturated and people got bored of it.
Yeah.
But like if you look at every match individually, they never really had a bad match together.
You could have a neighborhood spot that makes the best pizza. If you eat the same pizza every fucking day, you're gonna get tired of the pizza.
I don't know about all that.
I mean, pizza was maybe the wrong example because I could also eat the pizza every day.
Nah, bro. I had a neighborhood spot growing up. This place called Good Eats, which is now unfortunately closed. Fucking pandemic. God damn it. But I would legitimately eat pizza there at least. Like, it was like once a week, worst case once every other week. Like, and I never got tired of it.
That's good stuff. Now, we are in East Rutherford, New Jersey. These people fucking hate John Cena.
Yeah.
They immediately boo this man.
How many of these guys are from Philadelphia?
And just like made the trip? A bunch. Now, I want to talk about gear. John Cena is in the Chain Gang brand jorts, classic. He's just rocking. But here's what I want to talk about.
With the underwear peeking out, can't forget.
The Lita style, yes. Has any one person gotten more mileage out of a tattoo than Randy Orton?
Oh my God.
Because that man...
The barbed wire tattoo? Out of a barbed wire tattoo? Yes. Out of a tattoo in general?
Because he got that tattoo and then put it on his gear and did that for 20 years. Like, Orton's gear...
Yeah, but he doesn't have that tattoo anymore. Like, he Ben changed it.
Still, he just... But like that logo thing, it's just... Your brain's like, oh, it's Randy Orton. Like, he got so much mileage out of it. I'm kind of impressed.
I mean, maybe like CM Punk's Pepsi.
Yeah, I always found it funny in the WWE games where they didn't have the rights to Pepsi, so he just have like a blue and red squiggle.
Yeah.
And it's like... Just put a fucking Fanta logo. Like, who cares? Like, Oh yeah, no. CM Punk's always had a Dr. Pibb logo. He's fine.
He's just rocking RC Cola out there.
Woo! People are like, oh, if you ask for Coke and they say it's Pepsi, okay. Could you imagine if you went to some place and you're like, oh, can I get like a Coke? And they're like, do you mind an RC Cola? Like,
I would be like, do you guys have like Starry or something?
yeah, can you just kick me in the nuts? Like, oh, just excuse me, I'm gonna burn this restaurant to the ground. Are you fucking kidding me? RC Cola?
How about arson? How about arson?
Yeah,
How about that?
Arson. You like this match because it's a John Cena match, obviously. I
Yes.
think you can tell here these two have that like easy chemistry.
Yeah, but they just have to unlock it.
Yeah.
This is their first singles match together, so they haven't unlocked it yet.
But you can tell that like they kind of get it. They can do it. They can
Yes.
dance.
Yeah. This is a 20-minute match, and I don't think at any point of it I was bored.
Especially with honestly, shout out to New Jersey. The amount that they hated John Cena fueled me. Because I knew that we were over John Cena in 2007, but I didn't realize how much. But it's so localized in New Jersey that they just you don't expect the boos to be that loud, and all of a sudden
That's disrespectful.
John does one right hand, they're like, "Fuck this guy!"
Yeah, this was a big deal. Like I'm kind of shocked WWE was able to keep them apart for so long.
It is wild, right? Because John makes his debut. Like he has his like big show out in WrestleMania 20, right? Orton's on the card WrestleMania 20, and then they just stay apart.
They just were on different brands. John would go to Raw, Orton went to SmackDown, vice versa. Actually, not even vice versa, because John just once he made the switch in 2005 with the WWE Championship, he never really went back.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was really just Orton made the switch back to Raw, and that's when they were finally allowed to feud, which is 2007. Crazy.
That is crazy.
And it just makes so much, like, these were two guys who were, I feel like, just kind of destined to do this shit for as long as they were. Like, yeah, Batista was the other top guy, all that stuff. But I don't know, there was just something so natural to the feud between Orton and Cena that just made so much sense to me.
They just made sense as a pair.
It's kind of like it's the opposite of Batista and Orton, I will say. Like,
okay.
Can you remember a Batista Orton feud aside from the WrestleMania 30?
No.
I couldn't even tell you if there was one. Like, I just don't think those two ever really had chemistry with each other. Like like in that way, which is weird because it made so much sense to pair those two off in a feud because, the Evolution background. One became the number 2 babyface in the entire company. One became one of the biggest, if not the biggest, heels in the company.
Yeah.
And it just made sense to pair those two off with each other. And I don't know that they ever did, aside from WrestleMania 30. And if they did, I definitely do not remember it at all. So it wasn't memorable.
Here's a random Randy Orton trivia question for you. So WrestleMania 20 is the first Orton one.
Yes.
What's the next WrestleMania without Randy Orton?
Oh my God. Is it 11?
Why would it be?
Is it 2011?
No. I just know by WrestleMania number. So.
What was 2011? Was that the Miz one?
That'd be 28.
26? No, 26, isn't it?
Anyways, the answer is 32. He goes for 11 straight. Yeah. And only when he was injured for 32 was he out. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good for Randy.
Streak.
This match is, again, it's the beginnings. It's the origins. Spoiler alert. In the other 2 Randy Orton episodes we're going to do, there's going to be a John Cena match. And so you're going to see this because they get better.
Yeah, and this was intentional with me because it's like, listen, it's like how, because they just span different eras of their careers, you know? Like, there's a John Cena, Randy Orton feud in every iteration of these two guys' career. So it just makes sense.
What were some of your favorite spots?
I Randy Orton started causing CTE early on, bro. Like this man was between dropping Cena on his head and like targeting the head with stomps and stuff like that. He was just trying to get this man to freaking have some issues.
He at one point knocks him off the apron and goes face first in the announce table.
Yeah,
that doesn't help.
Does not help at all. Orton started doing his stomps, which I think this was the first match really where we saw it, like the targeted, the calf stomp and then the thigh stomp and then the shoulder, the arm stomp, the head stomps, where he's doing like the pause in between them, like it's not a continual thing. It's like very methodical, which he stole from someone, but I do not remember who it was.
I don't remember who it is either.
And it's great. It's fucking fantastic.
Orton does have a catch power slam and then a long headlock spot.
Yeah,
pretty long.
Goddamn long headlock spot.
Then Cena doesn't manage to get the shoulder blocks and the spinning slam thing. I don't even know what to call that. You can't see me, 5-knuckle shuffle. But then Orton immediately gets the backbreaker, neckbreaker thing he does and just gets the advantage again. And we get the first appearance of the Orton draping DDT.
Yes, another thing that would become a staple of his career moving forward.
If it wasn't a weird setup, I think it should be a finish because it looks painful as shit.
I mean, it is, isn't it? For Johnny Gargano, he kind of does it.
Yeah, but
as a finish.
I don't know if it's ever really his finish. I think it's a setup, right?
No. Johnny's won with that. Okay. He won the North American title with that.
It was on the exposed. Or no, that's the Adam Cole match I'm thinking of.
No, that's the. Didn't he beat Ciampa that way? Or no, Ciampa beat him that way.
Yeah,
I think a DDT onto the exposed in the second one.
I gotta go back and rewatch those Johnny Gargano NXT matches. That's a good time.
But I think that's how he beat Bronson Reed. I want to say it was that he beat for the title. But still, was that DDT?
That Orton draping DDT is just money.
It's great. It's fucking excellent. The way he sets it up every time, the way he grabs the arm in order to position him more. It also kind of looks more menacingly because it's not just
he's setting him up.
It's like he grabs the arm and then just bang.
It's great. Cena gets sent to the steel steps. He gets a swinging neckbreaker back in the ring. Orton stops Cena on the top rope. Tries to go for a superplex.
By the way, the swinging neckbreaker. He was going for a blockbuster, right?
Absolutely, and he totally fucked it.
He totally fucked that.
I was gonna. He just let him have the shot, the benefit of the doubt. But no, he totally fucked it.
He totally fucked that up.
Cena then hits a leg drop to a bent over Orton. Orton avoids an FU by holding onto the rope and then stun gunning Cena. Orton misses the punt. I did not realize that Orton was doing the punt already.
Yeah, I didn't either. That honestly caught me by surprise.
Before, I was like, I didn't know we were at this era yet. But
was it the feud with It might have been the feud with DX when he was in Rated RKO that he initially brought that in.
Yes, that is definitely where it's from. Cena locks in a terrible looking STFU.
It's bad.
It's so bad.
These two, for as good a chemistry as they had, have never had. Like, I think they've only ever made the STFU look good one time, and we are going to cover it next episode.
Very exciting. It's something to look forward to. We call that a teaser. Orton reaches the rope, Cena breaks it up, and then RKO out of nowhere. A terrible one-arm weak cover, and Cena is able to literally roll over to get a kick out.
There was a delay on the cover.
A very big delay, too.
Yeah, Orton was like selling his knee for some reason.
Just tired, man. When you get old, you just knee hurts.
He's like 28.
Man, I'm 31. My knees hurt all the goddamn time.
Actually, no, he's not even 28. He won the title at 24. He's 27.
Well, everything hurt when I was 27 too. Cena, of course. Cena wins. Lol. FU as Orton approaches him.
It's out of nowhere, to be fair.
It is. Not their best match, but a memorable match nonetheless.
JR made it seem like this was Rock Austin.
JR could honestly commentate bum fights and make it sound like Rock Austin.
Now hold up now. Bro, Rock Austin ain't got nothing on some bum fights.
That's true. Those were intense. Humans are the worst because we were like, hey, let's capitalize on these poor people who are down the luck and have them fight each other. And the rest of the world was like, I'll gladly watch that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, listen, as someone who lives near what is nicknamed Methadone Mile.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's bad. There's like a whole lot of homeless people by like one of the hospitals here on a pretty main road or main street here in Boston. But you see a lot of fights just happening, unfortunately. So I don't know.
It's just not a good time.
It's just I'm honestly surprised that we don't see more of it like recorded and put on the internet and stuff. But
I like to think we've evolved past bum fights, but I did like
thankfully,
when the
it
guy
seems like we have.
who was the creator of it was asked to go on Dr. Phil, so he then cut his hair and beard to look like Dr. Phil. Like he shaved the top of his head and he shaved into a mustache. It's awesome. Anyway, what'd you think of looking at this part of Randy Orton's career?
I didn't know that was a thing. I liked it. Early Orton is probably my least favorite version of Orton,
But all of the
but
parts are there. They're
but all
all
of it's there
there.
and it's all good. I'm not saying that he was bad or anything. I'm just saying
No,
the other stuff's better.
legendary feuds, like being a part of Evolution, the feud with Foley, the feud with Taker, and eventually like on Rated RKO, which we entirely missed. Those are all
Yeah.
those are four. Like if you had any of those things as a wrestler, you're set for life.
Oh yeah.
And
But he
yet,
just kind of kept evolving, kept growing, kept doing other shit.
it is the best thing about Orton is that the character looks the same. He's never undergone any real dramatic transformation.
The moves are all still
He
kind of the
started
same.
wearing the sleeveless hoodie for a while, and he shaves his head eventually. But other than that, he's the same guy, and he's he still evolves. He still makes enough changes. And next week we got Legacy, we got the Triple H feud, we got the Christian feud. Lots of good Orton stuff.
Yeah, so very excited. By the way, Randy Orton, we need to talk about it. I feel like might be one of the only people in this world who do the whole shaved head thing. Not shaved, like, very pretty much shaved
The buzz,
head thing.
yeah,
Yeah. Doesn't need to. It's
doesn't
not
need
like his
to.
hairline went
No.
back. His hairline's fine. It's the same as it's always been. He's not balding.
I
Like
like
he's
to think
fine on
I
that
like to think
regard.
he's fucking with certain people. Like he would do that and like look at Kurt and be like, "Oh yeah, I mean I got to shave it every day or else it gets really wild." And like now he probably does like Baron Corbin or something.
Remember that one time period? I think it was when he had that feud with Brock, or around that time period when he came back and he just randomly had
He
hair.
had hair, and we all were like, "What the fuck is that?"
I was like, what the hell is going
Nobody
on
was
here?
happy. We were all very disappointed. We're like, "You can't have hair. You're Randy
And it's not that
Orton."
it didn't look bad. It just we had seen him for like a decade without it.
No, and I will say that I am glad that he fixes his hair because there's like, I think it's the Mysterio match. Yeah, where the front of his hair is just like tiny spikes.
Yeah.
Like it's just little spikes.
I mean,
No.
look, man, that's just what it was. That's the time period.
I lived that time period. You're right. It was a time period. It's still
That's
bad.
what it was.
It still should be made fun of and mocked openly. That's what we do. You gotta keep these people accountable. All right. I had a great time looking at the career of Randy
Yeah.
Orton, and we're not even done. Next week, like I said, Legacy, Triple H, Christian, lots more good Randy Orton stuff. We're back, of course, on
Yep.
Saturday with more Randy Orton stuff.
I'm very excited. Very excited for this 3-parter, man.
If you are not already listening to us or watching us on YouTube, you should go to YouTube at Crossbody of Work and subscribe. We have all of our podcast episodes as well as our YouTube exclusive content. Last week on the YouTube exclusive content, we looked at Aztec Warfare from Lucha Underground, the first ever one. Go and listen to that. And next week, we're going to be doing our own version of the AEW brand split. They say it's not a hard roster split. We don't care. We're going to draft our own
disagree.
AEW rosters. Somebody's going to get stuck with CM Punk. It's probably me. Fuck. I don't want it. But that's the way it goes. Go to YouTube and you can see our Wrestler Revisited series where we add 2 more matches onto a wrestler we've already covered. You can check out our mini-sodes. You can check out our draft content. Other more exciting things coming. So make sure you go and subscribe there. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Crossbody of Work. Wherever you're listening, be sure to rate 5 stars. Share this with a friend. I'm sure you have a friend who likes Randy Orton. Get him to listen to this and dive back into the career of Randall Keith. Javier, where can people find you
love Randall
on social media?
I'm on the Twitter machine at JMelloSports. Sauce the follow. Just do it.
Just do it. Sauce112. At it's Evan Gomes on Twitter. ITSEVANGOMES. FullPressShop.com. Cop the merch. Support the boys. Javier's about to hit the Orton pose. So you can see the shirt. Boom. There it is. go to fullpresswrestling.com. All the links for this week's matches are going to be on there. The recommendation, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say the Rob Van Dam match.
Yeah. It's the match that I liked. I enjoyed it the most of
and
the
it
bunch.
may be it's the most surprising one of the entire bunch. And then again, if you want like a more memorable match, go with the Undertaker match. It's a good time.
Yeah. Or if you just want to have a really good time, watch the 3 with Rey Mysterio.
That's true. Watch that one too. Next week, we are back with more Randy Orton, but it's time for everyone's most favorite part of the podcast. Javier, any final words for the people?
This week on Life Advice with Javier, I don't want to say it's a little sentimental, but it's a little sentimental. It was my dad's birthday this past Sunday. And I don't know how you guys did it up in Canada because, we're like an actual... You guys are like civilization over there. Whereas we're just like a fucking hellscape down here in America. But we celebrate Father's Day this Sunday. And
we as well.
Yeah, it's like that every year. My dad's birthday is always a week before Father's Day.
Okay.
It tends to fall around that time period. So we just kind of combined the two into one. We had a whole celebration, all this other stuff. It's nice. Pretty much my life advice this week, oh my God, my light fell. Celebrate, it's kind of just, it's a familial thing. So if you hate your family, like, go away. Like, don't actually. I'm sorry, that was a joke. It was very poorly timed. But
go away.
It's one of those things where, like, it really struck me. Like, my grandparents were there, and my grandfather's 88, my grandmother's 82. Like, and he's still going strong at 88, which is really fucking cool to see. But I know the clock's running down on that. Unfortunately, I hope I get him for another 20 years, but the likelihood is not that's happening. And it really, my dad got to 62, which I'm very thankful for, and I hope I get to see him at 88 as well one day.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where when you have those moments when you're together with your family, like, obviously be present in that moment and enjoy the time that you have with them in that moment, but, like, also be conscious of the fact, like, hey, like, you don't know what's gonna happen next year, like,
take a photo,
stuff like that. Take a photo. I took plenty of photos. Like, we took a whole bunch of photos around the cake and stuff like that. Celebrate when you're in those moments with your family. Like that's what it's all about, man. Like, also, like, I know that day meant the world to my grandparents because they hadn't seen me in a little bit. And they, we all
he's
got together.
A goddamn delight.
And I'm a goddamn delight. I'm the favorite grandson. I'm not afraid to say it. They've got like they've got a shitload of grandkids, but I'm number one. Goddamn it.
Rankings, me.
Hell yeah. And no, man, it's just one of those things where, like Father's Day is coming up. If you're close with your father, hug them tight. Celebrate with them. Spend that time with them. I know it'll mean the world to your father. And if you get the chance and birthday's coming around the corner, go get a gift, celebrate, do all that stuff. This is even just for the dads, for the moms too. It's for everyone, grandparents, aunts, uncles, all that. If you've got a family member there's a point of celebration coming up and you guys get together, enjoy that time with your family, but make a memory out of it.
Happy Father's Day to everyone's favorite dad, Rhea Ripley. Thank you for joining us this week as we talked about the career of Randy Orton. We're back next week to keep talking about Randy. We'll talk to you then.
I don't even... Mommy.